This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Ramblin' with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. Today is Monday, July 29th, and Washington is on week 2, day 2 of training camp. Today signifies our first day in shoulder pads, pants. We finally are fully geared up, and football is footballing out in Ashburn. Yesterday was the first day it was open to fans. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to make it out to training camp this year, so no Rio training camp vlogs. If that changes over the next couple of days, I'll let y'all know. So I'm just going to have to trust our eyes on the ground. I know my boy Josh Taylor flew out from Austin. He's been covering practice, and according to what I've seen on X or the Twitter app, he's the only one posting extensive analysis or what he's seeing in the drills. Like I was talking to Lake Lewis the other day, it feels like there's a concerted effort to not let too much touch the Twitter sphere as far as what fans are learning that aren't in attendance at practice. But pads are on. First things first, I've been seeing clips league wide. Dudes is blasting and headhunting their own teammates at other training camps. I'm looking at you, Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs. Jimmy Ward came down and crushed Stephon Diggs. There are fights and headhunting taking place in training camps league-wide. I'm looking to see us play with discipline. I want us showing some aggression. I want us getting pads popping, but I want us also to take note that these are our teammates and we need these guys on Sundays. So take it easy. Relax with the try hard shit in practice. They started off practice, according to Josh and Zach Selby and everybody else. They started the practice with a concerted effort about the new kickoff return rule. They have every player that exists with speed on the roster returning kicks so far. They had Austin Eckler, Damiere Byrd, Mike Sanderstill, Lamade Zaccheaus, Mike Davis, Dax Milne, Kaz Allen, Jahan Dotson, Jamison Crowder, and Emmanuel Forbes giving it a go with the new kickoff drill. The new kickoff rules are like reading a Song of Ice and Fire or a Game of Thrones book for the first time. It sounds like another language. It sounds like you're reading Mandarin, and it's very confusing. And like by the time you get to the end of the new kickoff rule, you're like, I don't even know what the fuck's happening. Just kick the ball off, and I think you guys can return it now. So the kickoff rule says the ball is kicked off from the opposite 35-yard line, same as the current rule. Safety kicks would be from the 20-yard line, same as the current rule. All kicking team players other than the kicker will line up with 1 foot on the receiving team's B40-yard line. Kicker cannot cross the 50-yard line until the ball touches the ground or player in landing zone or end zone. The 10 kicking team players cannot move until the ball hits the ground or the player in the landing zone or the end zone. The receiving team will line up as follows. The setup zone, a 5-yard area from the yeah, I'm cool. We'll figure out the kicker. I know what it looks like. All this word soup they're giving me for the kicking rule, they can keep that shit. I am totally fine with it. Back to training camp. I think today's takeaway is now that you put pads on and things are starting to get physical and starting to emulate what actual game simulation looks like, now is when you start taking serious who takes reps first, who steps out on the field first, and you start to establish a pecking order of sorts. For example, who took the first quarterback drills when they stepped out in red zone and when they stepped out in team today? Jaden Daniels. Who took the first left tackle reps today? Brandon Coleman. And according to what every beat reporter and my boy Josh had to say, Brandon Coleman looked good. He sealed the edge on a touchdown, and he is progressing nicely. I know they've experimented with him. They've put him at left. They've put him at right. They've had him second team. They've had him first team. As of right now, first day in pads, so we can't be over the moon about anybody. It appears that Brandon Coleman is developing on schedule as your left tackle. And for a fan who feels that they may not have attacked the offensive line as aggressively as they could have over the offseason, if Brandon Coleman hits and becomes our starting left tackle and we didn't have to take him in the first round, that just makes this draft a home run. You get a quarterback and you get a left tackle in the same draft, regardless of how the rest of the class plays out. That makes this a home run draft immediately. And then Andrew Wiley was back at right tackle. I believe he was a little banged up yesterday, according to our boy Jalen Morgan, Bleeding B&G. Shout out my guy who had boots on the ground yesterday. But Brandon Coleman sealed off his blocker, allowed B-Rob for a lane for a touchdown. Jamison Crowder wrapped up the 2-point conversion drill with a wide open touchdown from Jeff Driscoll. Jeff Driscoll fighting against Sam Hartman, the birthday boy. Happy birthday to Sam Hartman, by the way. Chris Rodriguez was excited about getting out there in pads. Guys like to get out there in pads, but ultimately it's versus your team. So we're not going to see nothing too crazy. Jaden took the first reps in the end zone and goal line drills, threw a touchdown to Olamide Zacchaeus, threw a touchdown to Austin Eckler. So he had touchdowns on back-to-back plays to wrap up the end zone period. And he's progressing as we need him to progress. We need to see him versus another team at some point. Like next week. Next week is our first preseason game versus the Jets. But more importantly, we have a joint practice versus the Jets, meaning we're going to be running team drills. And the Jets are one of the top 7 defenses in football. That secondary, that pass rush, the linebacker core, and their coaching staff, which includes Robert Saleh. That is a defensive-minded football team. And just being able to share the field and soak up some tutelage and knowledge from Aaron Rodgers, we're going to see growth, and we're going to see just how far that development is when he gets his beak wet versus another football team. I'm excited to get to that because NFL preseason starts this week. The Bears and the Texans play in the Hall of Fame game this Thursday. We are officially back, y'all. Pads are on at practice. We're still not getting extensive analysis of what's happening at practice, but I really think it's by design, guys. I think the kicker is starting to have issues. I read some tweets yesterday saying the kicker missed a couple field goals. I pointed it out the other day. I had made a tweet that said, yo, please, somebody, anybody, post a video, a picture, or some type of tweet giving us evidence that there's a kicker out there at training camp. Because I haven't heard the kicker's name one time. And then yesterday, I hear he's out there shanking shit. We may have to have an open competition at the kicker position, but we need to see how he's going to kick in the preseason game, because preseason is like the ultimate job interview and audition for a kicker, because they actually be kicking that shit in preseason. But Jeremy Chin had a nice breakup in coverage on Zach Ertz and red zone drills. Dante Fowler Jr. blew up a run to the left in the backfield. Would have been a huge play in the game. We were talking about this in a group chat the other day. How do y'all think the edges are going to stack up? I know Dorrance Armstrong is going to start at one edge. Who's starting opposite him? Is it going to be Dante Fowler Jr. or Cleveland Farrell? While I think Cleveland Farrell is the more balanced guy, the more stout, higher floor guy, I think Dante Fowler Jr. adds more oomph to the pass rush. But I can see him used as a situational pass rusher. But hey, Dante Fowler Jr. out here rocking a single digit. That boy better be starting opposite Dorrance Armstrong. It's going to be one of the Cowboys. It's gonna be a cow. We might be having 2 former Cowboys starting on the edge. I think it's gonna be Dante Fowler Jr. and Dorrance Armstrong. But I don't know. Cleveland Farrell could start because that motherfucker's a unit. That's a big boy. That's a big, high ceiling, solid guy. Is he ever gonna light it up? Probably not. But these guys are still young, still got something left in the tank, and I think floor wise, it's not gonna be that significant of a drop off from what we already had here. But yeah, man, there's not much to talk about from practice. Jeremy Chin is setting the tone for the defense. Frankie Louvu looks like he's going to be a star. He's flying around. I want to hear what the linebackers look like, because Jordan McGee, Frankie Louvu, and Bobby Wagner, everyone's raving about our linebacker core so far. Fans are out there. The line was down the street and around the corner. My boy Josh said Jeremy Chin is going to be so good in this defense. We finally have coaches that can get through to players. Coaches that speak the language of the players and speak a language that if players don't understand, can put it in a way that they understand. We are in a much different position than we've been in a very long time, because it feels like there's synergy and direct lines of transparency from the ownership down to the front office, to the coaching staff, to the players. I'm excited to see what this looks like in a real football situation. Next week, it's going to get real. We got our first preseason week. Preseason kicks off in the NFL this week. The boys are back in pads. Jaden Daniels is Jaden Danielsing. I want all the updates. I want to see my quarterback. I wish I can get out there and see it live in person, but that's probably going to have to wait to the preseason finale or the first home game of the season. But that's all I got for right now. The boys are back in pads. Jeremy Chin looked good. Jaden going Jaden. Brandon Coleman is corralling the left tackle position, but if he don't win it, who else is going to? Michael Dieter's been playing a little bit of guard. Zach Ertz is probably a lot more vital to this team than fans want to think because he's a little bit long in the tooth. But I think this guy is going to get fed, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the offense in 2024. The running back duo of Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, they are exactly as advertised. We don't even really need any updates about those guys. Terry gonna Terry. Apparently, Jaden put a beautiful ball out there, but it just stretched outside the reach of Terry McLaurin, but we already know Terry and Jaden going to have a connection. Terry going to get fed, and congratulations to Terry again for making the top 100 list. Washington well represented in this year's top 100 list. Bobby Wagner, Jonathan Allen, and Terry McLaurin. So we got 3 players. Can't even think of the last time we had 3 players in the top 100 countdown. Look at us getting some recognition and some love. Expect that. Expect Washington to be in conversations more as we're drawing closer to the season. We're suddenly everyone's surprise team to shock the NFL, team that could go worst to first. Like you see Colin Cowherd do it. You see guys, Rich Eisen. You see guys jumping out there. I think Washington's going to be a 9 or 10 win football team. You see what happens when the karma is reset, when we don't have this idiot sitting at the top of the building, just a dark cloud raining over all of us. They can actually take us seriously and talk about us in a football sense now. It's not a bunch of drama, not a bunch of theatrics, not a bunch of bullshit. It's just football now. And that's what I love to see. Training camp, week 2, day 2. The boys are back in pads. That's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Until next time, Commander Rio, out.
Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.